Hello agents, and welcome to another daily episode of Target Loot Today, your daily farming guide for Thursday, January 28th. In this series, we cover a lot. We got the Target Loot map, Dark Zone exclusives, highlights for the weekly vendor resets, and build and farming suggestions as well. This is Shadow Gaming, and if you're new to the channel or enjoy this video, consider pressing the thumbs up and subscribe buttons below, and if not, a thumbs down. And always remember to hit those bell notifications to all so you never miss a daily morning video. Comment below if you have any questions or feedback, otherwise let's get this video started. Alright agents, so starting off with the Dark Zones and of course vendor reset highlights, which will be in that bottom left overlay right there, and it's full of really good stuff this week. I definitely recommend those contractors gloves at the clan, and then of course the anarchist cookbook over here at the White House, and then over in the DZ West we got death grips, and then finally I recommend the Dark Winter at DZ South vendor right here. Just reroll this third slot from stability to 10% damage to targets out of cover, and this thing is definitely worth picking up for sure. Alright guys, so for Dark Zone West today we got Walker Harrison Co, so that of course means you could farm for the Matador with perfect Adrenaline Rush backpack on it. I definitely recommend farming for that today for sure. It goes great with a lot of builds, especially a chest piece with Intimidate on it. And if you're looking for one of those builds, I'll put one in the top right card now. That's a run and gun build with like the Lady Death or something, but either way, if you need the Matador, farm DZ West today. Now next up in DZ South we got Tip of the Spear. I normally never recommend Tip of the Spear even if it's outside of the Dark Zone, but please comment below if anyone that's watching this has a good Tip of the Spear build. I haven't used it in so long, and it was niche back then too for like Dark Hours raid usually. And then lastly, we got MMRs at DZ East today. So of course you could farm for the Pinprick with Perfect First Blood. That's a Dark Zone exclusive MMR. Either way though, you could still farm for the Mantis or the Nemesis exotics. As long as you have the Nemesis unlocked, the Mantis you could straight up farm for no matter what. But the Nemesis, you're gonna need Puck's blueprint first from the Grand Washington Hotel mission when it's invaded that week. And you're gonna have to have the blueprint from the Tidal Basin as well. So you could farm with a buddy and let your teammates know that you're looking for the Nemesis if they want to drop it if they get it. Either way though, I would recommend farming for the Mantis. It's probably better than the Nemesis in my opinion. Now let's go check out the north side. Alright, AJS Northside Target Loot highlights. Starting off with the invaded missions this week, we got Federal Emergency Bunker, and then of course Potomac Event Center, Lincoln Memorial, and then Roosevelt Island and Tidal Basin are the two strongholds. My first recommendation for targeted loot is Camp White Oak. You got holsters, so you got 3 exotics, the Waveform, which you get at Season 4 level 90, the Imperial Dynasty, and the Dodge City holster. All 3 of those are actually pretty good. The Dodge City is for pistol builds or headshot damage builds, and then the Imperial Dynasty holster is great with an Eclipse Protocol fire damage build, and then of course the Waveform is great for your turret and drone build. Otherwise, you could farm for the Forge holster, which gives you 50% shield health, and that's a whole extra skill tier worth of shield health. Next up, we got Eligard over here in Coney Island Ballpark. I only recommend this to you guys if you need it for your shield builds. Otherwise, I never actually farmed for Eligard, but we do have shotguns at Coney Island Amusement Park, and that is something I highly recommend farming for. Now, of course, you got the 2 exotics. You got the Sweet Dreams with the Sandman talent, and then, of course, the Scorpio with Septic Shock. The Sweet Dreams, what you could do is melee one-hit kill a red or purple barred enemy every 15 seconds. And then, of course, the Scorpio just kind of stun locks, the enemies. Like, after one shot, they're poisoned. And then the next couple shots is confused, and then, shocked, and then 20% damage to them. So it's just a huge debuff and a great way to keep your enemies, status affected and stun locked, and it's great on pretty much any type of build. And that of course is awarded at season level 4, level 55, otherwise you could farm shotgun targeted loot for it. And then of course the other 4 best shotguns in this game would be the Rock and Roll Shotgun with Perfectly Extra, and the Mop with 10% armor on kill, which you can get at the theater this week. And it's actually rolled pretty well here. And then of course you got the Custom Inmate 70 and the Marine Super 90. And I always roll close and personal as the talent on those shotguns. And of course Grupo Sombra over here at Manning National Zoo is our last one. So remember, 1 piece for DPS builds, you want to go all red for just 1 piece for that 15% crit hit damage. And for that second piece, you want to go all yellow, if you're using an explosive skill damage build with Artillery, Mine, and Seekers. And then of course Kinley College is closed, and then the summit you pick your own target to lose. So let's go now check out what we got on the west and east sides of Washington DC, agents. Alright guys, west side target loot highlights, starting off with the gear sets because they're my two favorite actually. So we got Hunter's Fury at Roosevelt Island. I will put my favorite Hunter's Fury build in the top right card right now. And that of course is 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury, the Memento backpack, and the Death Grip gloves with 10% armor on kill, running the Dark Winter and the Scorpio. And if you don't have those Death Grips, make sure that you go to the DZ West vendor and pick those things up. They are definitely worth it on a solo Hunter's Fury build, even in group. Otherwise, there's some, alternative builds that I use for Hunter's Fury. I use a Sokolov chest with Obliterate on it. You can also use Intimidate, the Memento 4-piece Hunter's Fury, and I still use the Dark Winter and the Scorpio. And by the way, that is my absolute favorite build in this entire game. My second one is over here at True Patriot Bank Headquarters area. What I would farm for is my True Patriot build. And that of course is 4 pieces True Patriot, then you got a Sokolov chest with Intimidate on it, and then the Memento backpack, and you run around the Lady Death and the Mop. Now that's great for solo and group, all the way up to 4 people in Legendary Summit, and then of course all heroic content. I haven't tested it with the Legendary Strongholds though, but there is someone that speed ran it about a few days ago, and they did it with a version of this with the Chameleon, where you could use a Fenris chest instead of the Sokolov. For normal targeted loot, my first recommendation is Badger Tough at the Pentagon. You can farm the 0F's chest piece with Perfect Unbreakable, which is great for all DPS hybrid builds, or if you got that Ridgeway's Pride project, you could donate a piece, because it's kind of just the toughest part about that first part of the project in my opinion. And then you got Providence Defense today at Tidal Basin Stronghold. Tidal Basin's a big mission, so of course you could farm the Sacrifice of Perfect Glass Cannon, which is going to amplify all damage you deal by 30%, but also amplify all damage you get against you by 60%, making you shred like paper. But Tidal Basin is pretty big, so if you're looking for any Providence Defense pieces and the Sacrifice, either or, I highly recommend it. It's invaded, it'll drop a lot of loot on heroic. And then of course we got Fenris today at Lincoln Memorial. It's also invaded if you guys are looking for any Fenris pieces for your AR builds. And then we got Empress over here at Foggy Bottom, another great new addition to TU12. I'll put my best turret and drone build in the top title card right now for you guys. That's 3-piece Empress, 2-piece Hana-U, and the Waveform holster. And then of course what you want to do is run the turret and drone, put kinetic momentum on the chest piece, and run the force multiplier backpack, and run the capacitor with the Harmony rifle. Next up we got Mass at Potomac Event Center. You can farm the 2 exotics, Coyote's Mass for DPS builds, and of course you got the Vile Mass for status effects and skill damage. Both of those are really good depending on what you're looking for. And then of course you can also farm for the Punch Drunk Mass, so 20% headshot damage baked into it. And that's great for an all high-end headshot damage build if you're not going to go with aces and eights. My other recommendations would be backpacks at Federal Emergency Bunker. You can farm the Memento backpack with kill confirmed, and then of course the Acosta's Go bag with 1 in the hand. But remember, the Memento backpack is really the prize here. I don't use the Acosta's Go bag much. It's similar to the BTS shoe gloves where it grants overcharge as well as some other things. But the Memento backpack I think is the real prize here and definitely worth farming for. So always remember, just farm backpack targeted loot and eventually it will drop. Really, that's about that I was going to recommend. Murakami's great for that extra skill duration, and our last one of course is light machine guns at Downtown West. So real quick with Murakami, I honestly kind of prefer Murakami sometimes with the Memento backpack to add more duration to my turret and drones builds. It's really great, because you can only get like so much out of skill haste, right? So after that you want to go into all duration if you can. Otherwise, for light machine guns, you got the Bullet King and the Pestilence as the 2 exotic LMGs in this game. The Bullet King, you never have to reload. And then of course with the Pestilence, you can get that damage tick to over 1,000,000 per tick, and that's based off weapon damage, not status effects. But it does have about a 6-second reload, so I'll put my Perfect Brace build in the top title card right now if you want to check that out. It turns into about a 2-second reload. Otherwise, there's named LMGs in the bottom left overlay. The Black Friday is Dark Zone exclusive. The other ones you could just straight up farm for. I recommend the New Reliable, the Good Times, and that's about it really. Alright guys, let's go check out the east side now. Alright guys, over here on the east side, target loot highlights with the gear set starting first. We got Hardwired. Now, I had somebody comment the other day that why do I hate Hardwired? And honestly, I really don't. I just think that Rigor is the successor to it, and if somebody could show me, that it's, got a good build or whatever, I would recommend it for sure. But until then, I use Rigor. It gives instant cooldowns, and Hardwired only gives 30 seconds of cooldowns now. So definitely check out Rigor in my opinion. Otherwise, you got Eclipse Protocol at Capital battle building stronghold, so I always put my fire damage build in the top right card. And that's of course 4-piece Eclipse Protocol, Imperial Dynasty holster, and then you got 1 piece of Golan gear for an extra 10% status effects. And you always want to run the Stinger Hive and the Firestarter Chem Launcher with that. And then of course you could run like the Pyromaniac or something like that with Ignited on it that does damage against burning enemies. Otherwise we got Future Initiative at Jefferson Plaza. Remember the chest and backpack are Iron Horse raid exclusive, but in lieu of that I would use an Alp Summit chest piece with Empathetic Resolve on it. And then a backpack with Safeguard. That is a non-raid exclusive healer build that I highly recommend if you don't have the chest and backpack. And then the last two we got is Foundry at Jefferson Trade Center. Another one with the chest and backpack where the raid, it's Iron Horse raid exclusive. Otherwise, what I would recommend with Foundry Bulwark is to run the Emperor's Guard knee pads with that 1% armor regen and some Bellstone armory. And it's really just as good as the chest and backpack, maybe better. But either way, that's my recommendation for the, tank set for Foundry. And then for Negotiator's Dilemma at Federal Triangle, I always recommend my double LMG build. That's 4 pieces of Negotiator's Dilemma. And then the Coyote's Mask. And then you could run either Grupo Sombro for ARs and SMGs or Contractor's Gloves for LMGs with the Pestilence or Bullet King. And then otherwise you could run the Eagle Bearer or, the Dark Winter or the Lady Death or something if you want to run Grupo Sombro instead of the Contractor's Gloves. For the regular target of loot, we got some machine guns at Viewpoint Museum. So you got those 3 exotics, right? You got the Lady Death, the Chatterbox, and the Backfire. I highly recommend all 3 of them. The Backfire though, you're going to need a lot of hazard protection, around 94% hazard protection on your build to stop you from getting that bleed. The Chatterbox is first off a quest only exotic. So if I have enough cards, if not, I'll put it in the comment below for my quick 5-minute Chatterbox guide video. It's really fast to get it. And then of course the Lady Death you could just straight up farm for. Always remember the Dark Winter and the Apartment are Dark Zone exclusives, but you can pick up the Dark Winter this week in the DZ South vendor. Otherwise, I recommend the Safety Distance with Perfect Outsider and the Grudge with Perfect Vindictive. Both of those are very good for certain types of builds. Next up, we got ARs over here at Judiciary Square. So of course you got 3 exotic ARs in this game, but the Eagle Bearer is unfortunately still tied to the Dark Hours raid. So otherwise you got 2 other ones, the Chameleon with Adaptive Instincts and the Capacitor with Capacitance, and both of those you can farm for. The Chameleon for sure. The Capacitor you first have to unlock from the summit. You just have to complete 5 summit challenges and you can do that on any difficulty. So definitely check that out first before you start farming for it. It's really great though. It gives you 60% skill damage and 45% weapon damage when you're at skill tier 6. And then of course the Chameleon's great with that True Patriot build I mentioned earlier. Just swap out the Sokolov chest for Fenris and it just shreds. Otherwise there's a bunch of named ARs in the bottom left overlay. Rail Splitter is the only Dark Zone exclusive. The rest of them you could just straight up farm for. Next up we got Overlord at Downtown East. You can get those Fox's Prayer knee pads with 8% damage to targets out of cover. Always worth it. I recommend every agent have at least 1 or 2 pair of these. That 8% damage to targets out of cover is multiplicative damage, which is the best type of damage in this game, and it can be run on any type of DPS build. And really, that's all I'm going to recommend for the east side because this video is getting long. I'm sorry that these, videos aren't like 10 minutes real quick, easy to digest, but there's just so much in this game that I try to explain to you guys and help you guys out with. So I hope it's worth it even, with the whole length. But, what I would recommend is, of course, all the holdings for your headshot damage builds. I always recommend that with weapon damage, weapon handling, and of course headshot damage. Crit chance and crit damage I just ignore on these builds. Just get your headshot damage above 200% and you'll be good, and just aim for the head. And Wyvernware District Union if anyone's looking for a really good piece of Wyvernware. Alright guys, now let's go check out the New York City last. Alright agents, finally we're here at New York City Target Loot highlights. Today has been a long day with the map. We got basically like everything you could farm for today. I love it. No need to go to the summit today for sure. So let's start off first with Aces and Eights at Battery Park, alright? So that's a great headshot damage gear set. What you want to do is mix 3 pieces of Aces and Eights and 2 pieces of Aralda Holding. Make one of those a backpack with Vigilance or Composure, whichever one you like best, and then the Chain Killer chest piece with Perfect Headhunter. I always run that with the Mantis as my primary and Ekim's Long Stick as the secondary with Perfect Ranger. That thing hits for 20 million a headshot. Next up, we got Ongoing Directive at 2 Bridges. Of course, I got 2 bleed damage build for you guys. One, you're going to need the Ridgewaite's Pride, 4 pieces of Ongoing Directive, and the Anarchist Cookbook with Perfect Wicked. And I always run that with the Carnage with Perfect Sadist and the Scorpio. And the second build, I also run with these weapons. And that's 4 piece Ongoing Directive. Then, of course, you got 1 piece of the Badger Tough Backpack with Creeping Death and the Vile Mask. Both of those are great builds. And then strikers last at the tombs. Of course, I always recommend 3 pieces, never 4. 3 pieces just for stability on LMGs or the merciless. And then 4 pieces I never recommend because no one has 100% accuracy to keep up with that versus an all high-end DPS build. Alright, so for normal target loot, first off we got Hanayu at Civic Center. You can farm that Force Multiplier backpack with perfect combined arms, giving you 30% skill damage every 3 seconds you land a shot on an NPC. And that one is probably the strongest skill damage backpack you can get. You could use one with tech support on it, but I do not recommend the percussive maintenance with perfect tech support. Otherwise, we got rifles over here at Pathway Park. So you got 2 exotic rifles, right? You got the Merciless and the Diamondback, both of which I really never honestly use, but they both can be useful. The Merciless, you're going to need to calm it down with weapon handling, braced on your chest piece or 3-piece striker. And then for the Diamondback, it hits really hard in PvE and PvP, but you know, the agonizing bite can be kind of troublesome sometimes. And then of course, it's got only 5 shots in it. Otherwise, there's some named rifles that I recommend, which is the Baker's Dozen with Perfect Lucky Shot and the Surge with Spike. The last couple we got is Petrov at Financial District, so of course you could farm those Contractor's Gloves with 8% damage to armor, which is great for all LMG builds, or if you're stacking damage to armor with like 2-piece Walker Harrison Co., Lady Death, or Assault Rifles. Otherwise, I just picked them up in the clan. I think the weapon damage is rolled at almost 13%. And then Douglas and Harding is where I would farm for that Punch Drunk Mask instead of mass targeted loot. And the last one we got is knee pads at Wall Street. So you got those exotic knee pads, the Ninja Bike Messenger knee pads, and Sawyer's. The Ninja Bike is for run and gun, up close and personal. It gives you 25% bonus armor when you vault or do cover to cover, and also instantly reload your weapon. And for Sawyer's, you know, just sitting still, you get 1% weapon damage every second you're sitting still, and once you start moving, it just starts dropping. Otherwise, I would recommend picking up those Fox Per knee pads, but I recommend farming Overlord for those. And really, that's all I recommend for the New York City area, unless you're looking for the tardigrade. And that's going to be a stranded tanker. You can also farm the Ridge Race Pride if you've gotten it from the project already, or if a teammate shares it with you. Alright agents, well that was it for your daily farming guide today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider pressing those subscribe and like buttons below, and if you didn't, go ahead and smash the thumbs down if you need to. If you'd like to become a member for extra support and exclusive perks, you can click the join button below, and I just always want to say thank you to all of my channel members. I appreciate the extra support, it really helps me out. Always remember to check the video description and pinned comment below for links to support my channel, useful info for you guys like gear and weapon spreadsheets and weekly vendor resets. And of course, joining my Discord and Shadow Crew clan on all platforms, so just check all that stuff out below. I know it's a lot, but there's a lot of great stuff there. Otherwise, take care guys and have a wonderful day. Stay tuned for more daily Division 2 content. This is Agent Shadow signing off. I will see you in the next video guys. Take care agents.